Alright, hello, I'm Giovanni Svalza, and today I'll be showing you how to create a new object and then afterwards show you just all my code and where you could find them in the scene. So we're going to be in the distance graph scene, and first we're going to create an empty game object. Then under the game object, we're going to create a cylinder, and we're going to use the cylinder because, am I on it right now? Yes, I am. Okay. The cylinder is normally big, so why we're creating a normal game object to begin with is so that we can keep the scale to 1, and then we could put the cylinder here to scale 0.3, because every time we spawn a game object, the scale is always 1. So, we put the cylinder in the game object. We're going to recall the cylinder. We're going to rename it. Now, I forgot to record my audio, but I did it here. So that one's called cylinder main. So now we got to rename this to something else. So we'll call it cylinder demo. Now after we name it here, we're going to drag it here and we're going to make this a prefab. Now you're a prefab, and we're going to go to world, no, just world. And we're going to add, and then instead of cylinder main, we're going to add cylinder demo. And we're going to add two elements here so that it saves, so that every time it spawns into the world, it's whatever it's doing is saved for the next time we load the scene. So now that that's done, we're going to open up cylinder demo and we're going to do a lot of things. First, we're going to create an empty. We're going to call this pivot. And then we're going to go to Geo in the assets folder. Just open up Geo, prefabs, and we're going to drag the crosshair into the cylinder. Great, and now we're going to grab the pivot and we're going to put it to where we want to grab the cylinder from. So I want to grab it from on top. Great, now we're going to go to cylinder demo and we're going to add vendor height scripts entity. I'm going to get what else is there? Sorry, got to check the readme. Create program reference, and then we're going to get gallery item, and under gallery item there's a gallery item name, and we're going to put the name of our prefab, cylinder demo. So now that's saved, and those three add up Van der Heid's code. So now we're going to go to the cylinder and we're going to add my code. Distance grabbable, snap offset, and we're going to go pivot, snap offset, and then grab point, we're just going to grab the collider. Spawn point we leave empty, and then now we're going to add center of mass. We're going to make it awake. Wait, where'd it go? Okay, so for rigid body, we're going to add continuous speculative, and this rigid body spawns with the center of mass because the center of mass needs one. So now we're going to put the y -1. No, this -1 is based off the game object, so we're going to get -0.3 because the cylinder is only 0.3 long. And then we make it awake. So that having it awake means the center of gravity or center of mass is here. And when we have it off, it'll just be at the center. Then we add item and layer change, and we have nothing to add under those. So now I think we are pretty much set to test this out. No, we're not, because we have to add it to inventory UI. So I had button cylinder here that I made, so now we got to rename this to button cylinder main, and then here we're going to rename to button cylinder demo. And now here I changed stuff already. Cool. Normal color, we actually don't want any color. Okay, so it's gonna be the one that has no color. Where's the whole inventory UI? Where's everything? Where's my stuff? That's weird. Oh, is it because I have you hidden here? That's weird. Okay, sorry, I'd never had that before. Okay, so we go to inventory UI. Well, I guess we can't see the buttons exactly. But we have button cube grab distance. Oh, I have no sprite for you. Right. I should probably do that before I leave. Which I have of just, okay, so I can show you how to add the image sprite. So first I have the VR picture here. So we're gonna go to Geo, Pics, choose Photo, VR, and now I don't want you, actually I'm gonna copy and paste you. Copy and paste. Okay. Can I duplicate? Create clone? No. Alright, fine. I'll just import new asset. And that should be in pictures and it'll be VR. Hopefully I didn't DOS myself there. Actually, I should check those files. Pictures. Except my unofficial transcript. I think we're fine. So now we have VR1. Now we're going to put VR1 to sprite, 2D and UI. Apply. And now, because we did that, we can go to here, missing sprite, VR1, and now it shows up here, but the normal VR1 doesn't show. Normal VR does not show because it is a default and not a sprite. So now that we have that, button cylinder demo, we just have a normal button. But we'll go here, put button cylinder demo under here, button spawn, and now everything should be working. So just to make sure, you're the fourth one from the bottom. Okay, so now I'm gonna press that button and see if it spawns. So I'm using an air link, so I'm gonna just set up the connection right now. Alright, connection established. I'm gonna launch Unity. And now these are the main objects from before. But we don't want you. So let's see. Yes, look, now the image sprite's here. And now if I press it, it spawns the cube. Cool. Although you're huge. Like you're inside me. So I gotta change your size. Okay, so I'll fix that. But for now, so 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth one down, this should be the cylinder. And yes, we can grab it from the top. Oh, wait, we forgot one thing. Now, I'll show you why that's the case later. First, let's see if it programs. If it shows up in the code. So, switch to normal layer. Boom. Put you here. And you move forward. Okay. So, you work, and then we try switching back to the gravel layer. And we can grab you again. Cool. And then here you could see if I grab this wonky thing and I hit delete, now it deletes. Okay. And now we'll spawn a new one in. So now it's just chilling. And you're in the gravel layer. And all these things are able to be grabbed. Okay, cool. So everything's working fine. Oh, but before I go, I'll show you. So right now it follows me around. If I press B twice, and then now it's stuck. Press twice again, it moves around, it's stuck, and then here you can see I have the gallery. If I spawn the pig spawns. Okay, cool. That's enough of that. So the thing works, except finally, which is why I'm doing a cylinder here. We'll go to cylinder demo, cylinder, and we're gonna add collider. Box collider. We want to make the y about 0.05, and then they both x and y about, or x and z 0.5, and then we're gonna drag you. Oh shoot! Put that back. We want to put box collider at -1 or -3. What's going on here? Oh, you're down there. Okay, so we do -1. You're there. Okay. We probably want this to be like 0.66. 0.66. Okay, and now if we drop the object, as long as it's not in its trigger, like this collider up here, then it'll land on this flat surface instead of the round surface here on the cylinder. Okay, so that's all of that. Now, yeah, that's everything you need to create an object. Thanks for watching, and if you have any information for that, or not information, any questions about it, you can reach me here on the README. Do I even have, oh, I do have my information here. And if you want to look at it personally, you can open this README down here under Geo. So now I'm going to go over my scripts and stuff so that you can understand my code. So first, button spawn. Well, this is mostly Vanderheid's code. But basically, it spawns the object so that it can interact with his code. And it loads a create entity, which means it creates the entity, and blah, blah, blah. I don't fully understand it. But it calls the spawner. And it gets called on whenever the button is pressed. The button, when it gets pressed, spawns the spawner, or calls the spawner function. And then at this transform spawn point, which the spawn point is under over player controller spawn anchor. And you could make it so that it's on the center eye, so it spawns right in front of the person's face. But if you look straight down at the ground while you're looking at the inventory, which happens a lot, it's like a habit when using your phone, you spawn the object underneath the ground, and then it falls through the empty void of space. And it's just a playtest area, so ignore that. So I don't want to spawn from the center eye unless you go here and you put spawn point position Y and do like a +1 or +2 or whatever the range is from the spawn from the eye, so that it never spawns on the or underneath the ground. It spawns just on the ground if you're looking straight down. Canvas UI is under UI helpers, event system, along with inventory VR. And so Canvas UI, basically it gets the anchor so that wherever the anchor is, which we have canvas anchor, which here we have it based off of the eye. And it's okay if it goes underneath the ground because we could just call it again to move it around again. So bring this back here. The anchor, UI active, counter, start, UI active, false. So it starts off turned off, and then we call the active UI component, which the only thing that has active UI is the canvas. Meaning it only gets the canvas, and there can only be one canvas in the map, so only one object has the active UI. So next we get game object inventory equals active UI blah 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 game object, meaning it is the canvas itself. Game object inventory is the canvas, and then here is just getting the active UI. So if over here get down over here input button 2, so we're pressing the B button, then it flips the UI active, and then the inventory set active is set to whatever the UI active is. So it could be false, whoops, or true. And if it's true, we add 1 to the counter, and then if it's true, we check if the counter's been pressed an even number of times, meaning every 2 times the button's pressed, it tracks your position, and then every 1 time it is pressed, when it's active, then it's just stuck because this part doesn't trigger. So now we go over here, we go to center of mass, that's attached to every object, and every object, which first off I got it from a YouTube video linked here, but it just checks it just gives the rigid body a new center of mass. And then this draws the sphere so that we could see where the center of mass is. Inventory, VR, which I showed you earlier. This is used for the inventory UI, so just basically the gallery where we spawn things. And right here, it's just they start off as false. When you press the button, UI active flips, so it becomes true, and then your set active becomes true. And then you press it again, obviously it's reversed now. But here, when it is on, it follows your position. So to make it more intuitive, there. Or not intuitive, readable. Now we go to item, and this is just a simple, it gives 3 variables to whatever the script is set onto, and then that works for slot trash. So I'll just show slot trash now. Slot trash, it checks if it has these objects, if item in slot, if is item, and if it is, it changes the color so long as on trigger stays, so when it is colliding with the object, so when the slot trash is touching the game object. And then if we let go while it's touching, then it calls the delete function. The delete item function destroys and then changes the color of the trash can to blue to show that it did delete. And this reset color function we never call. Reset color, reset color, reset color, because we reset the color down here when it exits the trigger. Equals original color. I guess we could delete this, but I'll leave it there just in case. It has 0 references, so it's not even being called on. This one has 0 references, so. Oh, but it occurs whenever that happens. Okay, so we could erase this, I guess. So now that's erased, now I gotta show layer change. Layer change happens, so when it starts off, it gets the count from over your player controller. And, oh, it's right here. I set the counts, and then every time it updates, we check if the button's pressed, and if it's pressed, it adds 1 to the count. And basically what happens is, if we go to layer change, every time a button is pressed, so everything starts off in the gravel layer, we set it to gravel layer. And when you press it once, that means it turns it to the default layer. And then we press it again, so here, update. Starts off with the gravel layer. If it's this button 3 is pressed, which is the X button, it sets it to default layer, and if it's pressed again, it's the gravel layer. So every 2 times it's pressed, it goes back to its original gravel layer. And we want to make sure when the object spawns, let's say it's in the code mode, we call it, but basically when it's in the default layer and you can only use it to interact with the code and not interact with it physically with the grab function, then we want to make it so that it is, down here, if it's pressed an odd number of times, meaning all the objects are in the default layer, it is also in the default layer. And that's just it. And then slot we don't really use, but it's like, it's not on any object or component or whatever in the scene, but it's just part of the slot trash. Lastly, I'll go through the README. So I got all of my images, most of my images from Dolly. So here, everything except this image right here that I took a photo myself is from Dolly. So not materials, pics, button sprites. These, they are all from Dolly. Oh shoot. Oh, okay, it just opens up. Okay. Which is not called Crayon. So I think, yeah, Crayon, formerly known as Dolly Mini. And then this is to contact me. This is explaining the code. And then this is where I interacted with code outside of the functions or the scripts in my folder. So over your Grebel, which oh no, I just have the spawn point here, which we set from here. So I showed that earlier. And then that's all I did here. And then over your player controller, yep, I showed the count. And then distance grabber, I don't know if I showed this, but basically I changed it from, originally it was supposed to be for like relative to the world, the origin of the world. You put the snap offset, so the pivot transform that we made earlier, and then the world changes like how much it's adjusted by through the world origin. So like if we had the cylinder demo over here and we add the pivot transform on top of the cylinder here, it would take this length here from the origin and grab it this far away from you, which is like really dumb and hard to think about. So we made it so that it is changed relative to the object, not to you, and the mgrabbed object is the object that you're grabbing. So that fixed that. Where's the other readme? These are issues and things I've done. So basically, if I've done something, which is one of these things, and there's a mistake with it, then you can talk to me about it. This is stuff to do, mostly vendor hide. And then this is the controller layout. And then these are buttons available for you to play around with or create new inputs for the program. I think that's everything. Thank you for watching. If you need to contact me, that's fine. I won't be annoyed. Delete that. And we still have the prefab here. And that is everything. And I'm going to commit these changes. post tutorial. Video tutorial. Check in. Save. And then that's up to date on how to add stuff to the code and what I've done with the theme. Take care. Goodbye.